Hello again. Today, I think I'm going to talk something about something more interesting instead of my wife spending, which causes me more stress. And I can talk about it all day and different things. I want to change it up a little bit. I'll talk about some of her other spending later on, probably after Christmas, after I get the bill. I'll probably be really depressed then. But I want to talk about something that was kind of interesting because I was talking to Fabian. He asked me a couple of questions on electricity and how it works, and I thought it was a good topic to at least talk about it a little bit. And you know, I'm not an engineer, but I've worked around it long enough to know how it works. There's always doing something on my phone here. Let's talk about the kind of voltages that we have in our in our country. Obviously, we got the like little 9-volt batteries, which obviously were like you're going up like me. I put it on my tongue to get a buzz. I don't do that anymore. I just get a bottle of liquor and I get a buzz that way. It's more expensive, but it doesn't hurt as much. Let's talk about the house voltages. Believe it or not, most people maybe don't realize that house voltage can actually kill a person if you get in contact with that. It depends, I guess, on the person. I want to tell you that it depends on the person. We got 120 volts and 240 volts. They normally run a little bit higher, but that's what they're supposed to be running at. 120, 240. Those are the household voltages. Businesses have different voltages. They got 277, 480, 120, 208. So they got different voltages depending on what they're running there. Different motors, they require different voltages. So that's the difference about that. But the circuits in the house that run on 240 volts, I want to tell you, they're going to be the AC heater unit, put it that way, the oven, and dryer. Not the washer, but just the dryer. If you notice them, when you plug them in, they'll have the wires a little bit thicker. They're actually running two of those wires are 120 volts, and then you got the neutral wire. AC is the same way; it runs on 240 volts. That's that itself also could you get in contact with that, it could kill you. And how that does that, what that does is, if you get in contact, with the regular 120 volts, I mean, depends on the person. If he's it what it causes your heart to fibrillate, which it means it's not pumping right. Your heart pumps, but it causes to flutter or fibrillate, I guess what you call it. That's why you have those defibrillators, because you're shocking. You put those AEDs on there, and you put some voltage on to the person to help it get back into the rhythm. So what the voltage is, if you get in contact with even 120 volts, it could put your heart into fibrillation, or it's just not beating right, and you'll know it because you probably have a few seconds before you realize something's not right, and then you'll have a cardiac arrest. I guess you could say that. I won't say a heart attack, but it'll be a cardiac arrest because your heart's not pumping right. So you just got to be careful when you're, especially with children, if you're, plugging things into the wall or anything that close to the, like in the bathroom, if you have water running, you're plugging stuff right next to the water, because the water's conductor. Obviously, it's gonna get you. Uh, but I figure maybe just a brief message that even household voltages, can do some harm. Nothing else, you're gonna get a really big shock out of it. Ask me how I know. Not so much from the house, but in my line of work, I've done stupid things where I had my head up my ass and realized, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. It hurts. Um, I guess I'm gonna say in my lifetime, I probably hit with 240 volts, which it hurt. Luckily, I didn't do nothing other than just uh, send into my ass, and and realize I did something stupid. But you kind of learn from that, as you progress. Some of my friends that, you know, I got into contact with higher voltages, they didn't do so well. So, but I'll pick it up on a different from here. If anybody has questions or anything, you can ask me. I'll probably get some engineer who says, what's the Ohm's law and all this. You know what? I'm talking about just getting shocked and they can kill you. That's what I'm talking about. The Ohm's law, yeah, I know the Ohm's law. But I'm not going to be talking technical stuff. I'm just, for conversation's sake and for safety's sake, so just talking about household voltages. So, anyways, when you guys, have children running around and they're not going to be aware of that. I had one of my kids do the same thing. He put my car keys into the wall outlet, and he got burned. Obviously, he learned his lesson without me telling him after that, but it could have killed him easily. So, anyways, thought I'd just share that with you.